I have a question for Ms. Washburn. How was it for you doing the differences between doing movies and then doing television? How was it for you as far as taking it to the small screen?
Well, the difference in doing a feature film and a TV show pretty much is the time. Because like when you're in a feature, you can be on it for 3 months. When I did Old Yeller, we were filming for 3 months. When I did Lone Ranger, which was the feature film at Warner Brothers, that was 3 months. Same with Shane. And, you know, so you kind of, it sounds corny, but you really do kind of become a family. And if you're on a series, the same thing happens. But when you're on a TV show, typically, you know, you're there for maybe 2 or 3 days, and so you don't have that same camaraderie. You make friends, and it's all wonderful, but it doesn't last as long. So the features, it's more like a family.
I have a question for Ms. Washburn as well. I noticed on your postcard for your book that's going to be out in a couple of weeks. What's the name of it, the title again?
Real Tears.
Real Tears.
But it's spelled R-E-E-L.
I saw, okay, like
the film.
Okay. My question, I noticed it said on there, so like you were friends with like Lou Costello. I mean, do you know anything?
I did a Wagon Train. I did 3 episodes of Wagon Train, but the one I did was with Lou Costello, and it was the only dramatic role that he ever did. And he was wonderful, and I was thrilled. I think I was about 12, and I was a big Abbott and Costello fan, so when I knew that I was going to work with Lou Costello, that was a huge thing for me. And he was as nice as he could be. And he was hilarious, because when he did Abbott and Costello, he really had free reign, you know, he could ad-lib. And they wanted him to stick to the script, and he had a really hard time memorizing his dialogue. So every time he would go up on his lines, and he would just stop and he'd look right into the camera and he'd go, "So, how are you?" He would do that every time. He was adorable. I enjoyed that.
Yes.
Casey Dooley with Post Time Productions. Mr. Morris, I'm not sure what you can tell, but for season 9 of Smallville, are we going to see more Martian Manhunter and see more of his powers? Because
I hope so.
Yeah, as you know, he has so much more powers than what we've seen in the past. So, like, just what you can tell us would be great.
Well, I mean, you know, I don't know. They don't. I'm not privy to that. One of the reasons is they may not know. The other is that they don't want to tell me because I'm a fan. I want you to know. You know, so I'm gonna spill the beans. I mean, it's pretty smart that they don't tell me. But you know, I'm hoping that they use John more. I really like the way they developed him this particular season. I thought they grounded him a little bit more. I mean, losing his powers was difficult as the actor to read, but as the character, it gave him another dimension to play, and brings another value to Clark that I don't think he would have been able to bring if he hadn't lost his powers, you know. So I think it makes him a much more vulnerable personage, and hopefully they'll expand on that. I mean, we had a great scene in the episode where I got shot, where we all were like, you know, we got each other's back, and we can't let what's happening with the police happen to us. And then they kind of dropped the ball on that. We didn't really pick that up. I'm hoping that they pick that thread up and they show us, you know, kind of watching each other's back and kind of giving each other, you know, a leg up and some support. Because I think, you know, Oliver definitely needs it. You know, he's a bit of a lone wolf, and you know, it must be difficult as that character to operate alone all the time. For John, he definitely needs support and could use the camaraderie of this kind of vague Justice League. And Clark absolutely needs it. You know what I mean? So I hope that they do what the fans want.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Corey Goodman also with Post Time Productions. Mr. Hartley.
Yes.
When you found out at Hooters the Green Arrow, did you do any research?
Yeah.
Extensive research at all?
Yeah. Well, you know, how do I start? Yeah. Well, I did. It was quicker for me because I had done the Aquaman pilot. So, and for me, honestly with you, I didn't collect comics. I had friends who collected comics. I collected baseball cards, and I mean, that was my thing. It was like, you know, I was as dedicated to that as they were comics. I mean, I could read, you know, the back of every card. Ridiculous. I knew everything. But comics weren't my thing, so I didn't necessarily grow up with it. So I was kind of a novice when it came to, you know, all of them really. And what I found out when I did the Aquaman pilot, really quickly, I found out, someone gave me a really good piece of advice. They said, you know, Justin, you're going to do a character where people are either going to love the way you did it or they're going to hate the way you did it. There's no one's going to say, hey, he's all right. They're going to love it or they're going to hate it, because you're either going to get it right or you're not going to get it right. So I hit the books, and I hit the internet, and I hit the comics, and I spent a ton of money buying comic books. So I wanted to have them at my disposal. And then I learned, you know, there's different versions of stuff, and it evolves, and then it goes back, and people rewrite certain things. So in doing that, I kind of learned that the best way for me, anyway, to study, because there's pictures in them also, I mean, let's be honest, is the comics. I mean, I can read it, and then I can look at it, and I'm a visual learner, and I go, great, that's what I read. And so I've actually asked them to do my scripts that way. Like, can I see the storyboards? Yeah, no luck on that yet. But so the comics were the best way for me to go about you know, researching it, and I definitely try to go above and beyond. I don't think you can go above and beyond as far as research goes, but I go as far as I can, because the worst thing that can happen is I think the inevitable thing, which always happens, which is you realize afterwards what you were playing. So I try to, you know, look at all the comics and stuff like that. Now I've got quite an extensive collection. I don't have 20,000, but I bet you I have 2,000.
Thank you.
I have a question. Noel, when you did the Superman serial, then they went ahead in 1951 and filmed Without You with another Lois Lane.
Right.
Were you shocked that they came back to you and asked you to be in, considering no one else from the serial was approached to do the TV series, and then they came around and asked you again?
No, I was doing the show, as you mentioned, with Kirk Allen. And then we did 30 episodes and for Columbia. And all of a sudden the phone rang, and this place, he said, "This is Mrs. or whatever from New York. Would you like to be Lois Lane again?" And I said, "Sure, fine, it's work." And so it was just really simple. And then I got back there and found out why Kellogg's had put some money into the show. And they said, "Our people sell cereal to women for the children, so they don't want any violence, any blood, or any of that stuff." So they had to just redo and eliminated, threw away the first 26 they made, and the people concerned with it, nameless. And so we just started out and kept it.
Who do you think was a better Superman, Kirk Allen or George Reeves?
Oh, George, definitely. Oh, he was an actor. I mean, he had studied. And Kirk was a dancer in New York, a ballet dancer, when they found him. And of course, he made good jumps and leaps out of windows and doors. He was very good. But he was, I found out later, of course, he was very miserable that he hadn't been asked or chosen or whatever to try to be Superman again. But he went on conventions and married a rich lady and died.